Is there anything more deliciously contradictory than a game that lets you micromanage fairway curvature while an 8-bit kiosk hawks hot dogs with the sonic subtlety of a whoopee cushion symphony? Spoiler, nope. Sid Meier's SimGolf might look as stiff as a plaid-vested club pro on a rainy Tuesday, but behind those chunky sprites lurks a management sim equal parts eccentric and essential, underrated, like a 5-foot tap-in that nobody bothers to practice, then lip-outs galore. Fundamental? If you've ever asked, why can't I design the holes the PGA fears? You need this disc spinning in your optical drive right now, or your compatibility layer, looking at you, Windows 11. Overhyped? EA tucked the launch beneath a pile of Medal of Honor press clippings and left SimGolf to putt for itself, so hype never entered the clubhouse. The result is a cult classic that weds course architecture to people management, then sprinkles the whole concoction with comedy burps. Yes, really, the snack bar's MIDI belch is your new spirit animal. Buckle up your golf cart because we're going deep into pixelated fairways to decide if this forgotten gem deserves a bronze statue on the retro podium, or a quiet burial in the rough, where only chipmunks and abandoned Voodoo 2 cards will know its name. Historical context. January 23rd, 2002. While mainstream gaming obsessed over ragdoll physics and bloom lighting, Firaxis and Electronic Arts lobbed a deceptively modest drive down history's fairway with Sid Meier's SimGolf, a Windows-exclusive exercise in benevolent turf tyranny. The development lineage reads like a nerd superband. Sid Meier, fresh off Civilization the 3, teamed with Will Wright, consulting from his Max's lair fresh off The Sims, to craft a management title that prized humor over polygon counts. Wright's contribution was limited to early design kibitzing, but even that cameo launched 1,000 fanboy salutes. The very notion that the architects of God Games might collaborate felt like Marvel's Avengers assembling, if the Avengers wore +4s and argued about clubhouse fees. EA's release calendar was a buffet of sim-something in those years. SimCity 3000 had just paved virtual urban sprawl. The Sims was printing money faster than mint-condition Charizards, and SimCoaster had loop-de-looped into bargain bins. Against that noise, a golf course builder sounded quaint. The sports genre, meanwhile, was engaged in a graphical arms race. Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 2002 flaunted motion-captured swings, while Link's 2001 fetishized grass textures so sharp you could mow them. SimGolf refused to compete on visuals, it chose charm over shaders, an approach that felt retro even in 2002 and downright artisanal today. My own memory file reads like this. After annihilating quarters on the Golden Tee trackball at the grimy XP arcade, sticky floor, suspicious chili dogs, zero regrets, I'd stagger home, boot SimGolf, and seek revenge by designing par 3 death traps the digital duffers couldn't survive. Therapy bills? Pending. The early aughts PC scene was also flirting with cozy management long before the term existed. Games like Zoo Tycoon and RollerCoaster Tycoon proved spreadsheets could be snuggly. SimGolf slotted right in, offering the calm zen of landscaping spiked with bursts of slapstick narrative. Where else could a pixel businessman named I Am Picky threaten to withhold your land expansion permit because your snack bar queue smelled like yesterday's socks? Most crucially, SimGolf arrived when user-generated content was still the Wild West. Mods existed, but Steam Workshop was years away. Firaxis built a map editor so slick it felt illegal. Click a square, raise terrain, drop water, boom, instant dogleg. That emphasis on friction-free creativity foreshadowed the mod-centric future. It just didn't have a digital storefront to monetize your genius. Instead, players traded course files on dusty forums, posting ZIPs like covert contraband. Mechanics, let's tee off with the core loop. The game gifts you a swath of undeveloped greenery. Think Civ's world map if it spent a spa weekend at Augusta National. With a mouse stroke, you sculpt hills, carve ponds, and lay fairway carpet as effortlessly as painting happy little trees. Place a tee box here, a cup there. Sprinkle a bunker as a dastardly grin, and the hole is live. But SimGolf isn't content with landscaping. It straps you into the mayor's chair of an ever-growing resort ecosystem. Facilities range from driving ranges to airstrips, so celebrities can parachute in and complain about your rough. The humble snack bar is cheapest, but here's the kicker. Every time a SimGolfer buys a dog, soda, or existential crisis, the kiosk emits a signature belch, a low-fidelity burp that loops until your sanity or the mute button wins. Players still record Let's Plays titled "Please Stop Belching" for a reason. That auditory gag becomes the game's mischievous heartbeat, and in my courses, the running gag threaded through every every design choice. Need morale. Add a burp. Need revenue. Add 2 burps. Need enemies. Hide speakers behind the 18th green grandstands and crank the volume. Holes are judged on fun, length, and accuracy. 3 metrics visible by clicking the flagstick. Fun rises with wide fairways, scenic vistas, and clever risk-reward layouts. Length measures yardage heft. Accuracy rewards nasty doglegs that punish sloppy aim. Spin those dials right, and the game automatically promotes a hole from good to great, eventually crowning classic status with pomp, confetti, and a satisfying cash bump. Balancing those numbers is harder than it sounds because each SimGolfer arrives with unique quirks. A hacker with banana slice tendencies will curse tight fairways, tanking your fun rating, while a seasoned pro loves the challenge. The economy's throttle is green's fees, which you adjust hole by hole. Dial too high and weekend duffers bail. Set them low and your bank account sulks. Unlike most management sims, SimGolf hands you a playable avatar, initially named Gary Golf, though you can christen him Lord Shank Redemption if that suits your swagger. Your pro competes in challenges and tournaments held on your own course, earning skill points to boost accurate driver, high backspin shot, or that elusive luck stat. Those points feed back into design decisions. If you master fade shots, you'll craft holes that favor them, reaping higher skill ratings and bragging rights. It's an elegant feedback spiral. Design the playground, then play on it, learn its pain points, iterate, repeat. Narrative spice arrives via SimStory pairings. NPCs who banter mid-round. One moment Ivana Richmond is debating stock tips with JP Big Dome. The next, I Am Picky storms off because your fairway doglegs left instead of right. They're not scripted campaign characters so much as emergent sitcom fodder, randomly drawn from a goofy name bank. So yes, Chuck Mulligan and Chip Mulligan can spawn, but they're procedurally generated cousins, not designer-planted lore. Their mini-arcs culminate in rewards. Impress Picky, and you can buy extra land. Charm Richmond, and she donates landmark cash. Satisfy Bigdom, and sponsorships roll in. Their arrival queues are algorithmic, tied to fun or skill thresholds, so you end up designing for personalities, not just spreadsheets. Speaking of spreadsheets, SimGolf hides most of them. Maintenance cost? A neat little slider. Worker wages, simple toggles. The UI's restraint feels almost indie in hindsight. Statistics exist, they're just tucked away so creative flow isn't drowned in decimals. Sid Meier has often preached a game is a series of interesting decisions, and here every decision, tree placement, dogleg severity, snack bar proximity, ripples immediately through golfer mood balloons floating above avatars' heads. You never need a flowchart, you need empathy for tiny complainers. And then there's that snack bar belch. The facility itself is graphically bland, a beige kiosk with a soda fountain sprite, but its sonic footprint is thunderous. Veteran builders develop a Stockholm Syndrome love for the burp. Newbies panic bulldoze every kiosk after 30 minutes, then realize golfers are starving and fun plummets. My signature move became the corridor of culinary chaos. 5 snack bars lining the stretch between holes 9 and 10, engineering a soundscape so raucous even Ozzy Osbourne would request earplugs. Tourists loved the convenience. My cash flow spiked and the fun meter soared. Morale of the story: never underestimate the power of processed meat and comedic bodily noises. Mechanically, the game's shot execution sits halfway between arcade flick and dice roll. You choose club, direction, and shot type: normal, punch, draw, fade, backspin. Your golfer's stats nudge probability curves, and outcomes decide whether you fist pump or toss mouse across room. It's simultaneously forgiving enough for casuals and deep enough for perfectionists chasing underpar rounds. Most delightful is the commentary. Sid Meier's own voice pops up with understated "that'll play" whenever you nail a heroic approach. Contrast that with modern sports titles drowning in broadcast booths. SimGolf feels intimate, like the designer leaning over your shoulder, sipping lemonade and sharing dad jokes about sand traps. Glitches, a few. Golfer pathfinding occasionally teleports a sim across a pond like Moses parting water. Resolution caps at 1024 by 768, so full screen on a 4K monitor looks like Lego, but bugs edge toward charming rather than catastrophic. Think wrinkles on a vintage vinyl sleeve. Legacy and influence commercially, SimGolf finished middle of the pack. Respectable sales, but no platinum drive. Critics bestowed charming but shallow verdicts, missing the depth lurking beneath burp humor, yet its design DNA scattered across the strategy landscape. Firaxis' later titles adopted the same friendly feedback loops. Civilization 4 introduced advisor pop-ups that echo golfer thought bubbles, and XCOM's base-building morale borrows SimGolf's happiness calculus. Indie scene airs proliferated. Golftopia markets itself as the new SimGolf, and fans praise its intuitive tools in Steam reviews, often starting sentences with "I miss Sid Meier's SimGolf." More broadly, the cozy sim boom of the 2020s, Two Point Hospital, Parkitect, Life Farm darlings, embraces the trifecta of creative sandbox, bite-sized storytelling, and low-stakes chaos that SimGolf championed. Even AAA sports games flirt with course editors now, but none equal SimGolf's holistic vision, where playing the sport and designing the venue intertwine. The absence of licensed pro golfers or real-world venues made the game evergreen. No yearly roster patch required. Ironically, that licensing vacuum may be why EA never greenlit a sequel. No marketing synergy, no Ultimate Team microtransactions, just pure design bliss. In fan communities, SimGolf lives on through compatibility patches and lovingly curated wiki pages explaining fun rating voodoo and I am picky summoning rituals. Modders replace the belch sound with gentler tones, cowards, or amplify it for comedic effect, heroes. There's even a cottage industry of YouTube impossible difficulty runs where players attempt to satisfy the unforgiving AI golfers without going bankrupt, proving the underlying systems remain fascinating 2 decades later. Closing paragraph plus score. Booting the game today requires administrator privileges, a compatibility checkbox, and perhaps a blood sacrifice to the direct draw gods. But once those greens load, you'll remember why you cared. The burping snack bar still elicits forbidden giggles. The surface level whimsy still hides design depth. The sight of I am picky trotting up the first fairway still triggers Pavlovian dread. Is SimGolf flawless? Heck no. Resolution constraints, teleporting golfers, and that one bug where marshals freeze mid-whistle keep perfection off the card. But perfection is for sterile tour simulators. Personality ages better than parallax mapping. So scorecard time. On a critic scale of 0 to 10, I'm handing Sid Meier's SimGolf a respectful 8.5. That's a double eagle in golf parlance. Rare, celebratory, and slightly unbelievable. The game may never earn a televised green jacket, but in the clubhouse of design-driven oddities, it remains the life of the party, belching proudly into the night. Grab a virtual hot dog, mute if you must, weakling, and take a stroll down these isometric fairways. You'll find history, humor, and proof that sometimes the smallest swings leave the deepest divots.